Alright, so in this video what we're going to do is add our final two motors, right? Our pump 3, and then we're going to add our Powerflex 525. Now, first I want to do the pump real quick because basically that we've kind of did both the pumps already. So we're going to keep this one the same. We haven't done any kind of mixer controls, so this will be the actual mixer as far as that goes, or as far as the pump 3 will be the pump we have right here. This will be pump 3. We're going to do the mixer as the 525, the Powerflex 525. So we're going to keep that just so we get that clear. We have no controls for any of this stuff yet, but we are adding that now inside of this control. So first, the easiest and simplest thing to do is to come in here and select all this. We're going to copy and then we're going to paste, right, like we did before. Now we're going to come in here and we're also going to correct this too. Now I'm offline right now, but I'm going to do this offline for several different reasons. So we need to fix this one so it monitors axis 2, right? This one's going to monitor pump 3 axis, action status, right? This one's going to be pump 3, so similar to what we did before, right? And then we're going to come over here and add a new tag just like we did, and we're going to say this is ready, and then this is going to be pump 3 request on. Okay, so we don't have that tag yet, but we will be utilizing that tag again. So we will be actually coming back doing that. So all we're going to do is do the same thing we did before. You've seen this before in our previous videos. If you haven't seen those, please go back and watch those. Again, all this stuff is highly important to your success and you understanding what we're doing. Now, again, so we're going to change this to pump 3. I'm going to kind of speed through this because we did this before, and I want to make sure we focus on the 525. So that's the major focus to right now. So we're going to add this real quick. So we have all this. That's done. And then we're going to take this and drag it down here. And then we're going to take this and drag it down here. And change this to pump 3. That's our last axis, right? Okay, so now we have this done. And now I'm going to add this, and this we're going to name this pump 2. This is actually pump 3, so that we can have some kind of hierarchy in here. So this is pump 3. This is going to be the discharge pump. So we're going to call that mixer discharge pump. All right, makes sense to everybody. So that way we keep track of what our pumps are, and we're going to spread that out a little bit. And this one up here is going to be mixer 2, or this is going to be the pump 2. This is going to be the caffeine pump. Okay, so that's going to be the caffeine pump, and now we know that. And this one up here is going to be the master batch, right? Master batch pump, not pump. Make sure we have that in there. So alright, so now that we have this in here, we're going to get to the nuts and bolts of the actual Powerflex 525, because I know that's what really you guys will want to do. Alright, so we have this in here. Alright, so from here on down, we're going to do the Powerflex 525. Now, I want to open the Powerflex 525 drive up. I want to open up the actual parameters, or the actual the properties for this. And in overview, I'm going to go to device definition. Okay, so I'm going to go to the connection format, and I'm going to change the output connection format because I want to monitor certain things. Now right here, I want to change this one to actually be able to change the Accel and Decel of the motor. So I'm going to change the Accel time and the Decel time of the motor. Okay. So I want to be able to change that. So in the outputs, I'm going to be able to change the Accel time and the Decel time now. I hit OK, is going to change. I'm going to say yes. Then we're going to close that. Now, what I want to do here is now come in and we're going to go in and download this code. We're going to download the code to the actual PLC program, and I want to show you that we do have those tags now, right? So we're going to add in our we're also going to do too is we're going to, now I'm going to do this on a completely separate on the very next video, but we're going to come in and do all the controls first here, and then we're going to go ahead and add the HMI controls on the actual next video. So the controller acknowledge request to start. Let's see why. Okay, here we go. That's good. Good stuff. Good. Okay, so now let's go into real quick. Let's go into controller tags, and let's go into Powerflex, and you're going to see in outputs now we have the the Decel time and the Accel time. Okay, so it's not the rate. That would be selecting the rate. That's a bool. This is an integer. Okay, so we have the ability to change that. So if we want to, we come in here and select a time, whatever we want to, like say for instance, 1500 would be basically, you know, like an Accel of 1500. So when it comes down to it, we want to make sure we have that set correctly, right? So now that we've had that actually in there from the actual device parameters, so we actually changed the drive parameters on that. What we want to do is come over here and add this in here, add the controls in here. So what we'll do is we'll go into the controls. Now we're going to add our couple different rungs here. We're going to add in the first rung. Now the first rung is just going to say the device is ready. So we're basically going to say two. We're going to say, let's just say one examine on, one examine off. And I'm going to pull these in here, and I'm going to say this is going to be Powerflex 525 ready. Now I'm going to alias this. So I'm going to alias this down to an actual bit from the actual drive itself. So we're going to come down here and get to the Powerflex drive. We're going to use the input, and in this instance we're going to use the ready bit. Okay, so then we're going to select OK. So it is currently ready. Now we want to, in this token, we want to come in here and say Powerflex 525 faulted. So we want to verify it's not faulted. We're going to alias that too. And we're going to come in here. Well, the cool thing is we can come up here and type this in, and it will basically give us the shortcut to that, right? So we want to make sure it's not faulted. It's not faulted right here. And then we're going to come in here and make a bit that says the mixer VFD ready. And in this instance, we're going to come in here and let's actually capitalize this. VFD ready. So we have our first rung in here. Okay. So in our first rung, we've been doing everything we've been saying. We've been having a rung comment. So let's do that. Let's add our rung comment and let's call this out. And we're going to call this mixer motor controls. And then we'll call this Powerflex 525. Let's get that right here. Just go right here, put that right there. Alright, so now we have our separated out. So now we have our ready bit, just like we did up here, our ready bit. Now we're going to come in here and add another rung. And this is going to be our starts and our stops. So this is going to be really cut and dry. So let's just do this. We're going to come in here and we're going to put in our controls real quick. So let's come in here and add our controls. And what I want to do here is have a HMI control as well, like a manual. So this is going to be the start and the stop. Now I want to explain this a little bit deeper because some people may know how a Powerflex 525 works. If you've been through some of my 525 training, you know exactly how it works, and some of you might not know. Okay, so what I want to actually highlight is the fact that it's ready. I want to monitor it's ready, just like we did right here, just like we did before. Make sure it's ready. In the bottom rung, you can monitor if it's not ready. It's completely up to you. But again, when it comes down to it, we're going to actually, monitor that as well. So in this instance, so what we'll do is we'll come in and add a third instance down here, and this will be, let's say, another branch, and then we'll say if it's not ready, if it is not ready, we want to stop it. Really simple. We're going to sum up this right here. These right here will be, this will be our mixer start request, and we don't have the mixer start request bit in there yet, but we will actually make the tag here. So this is like a placeholder, if you would. So this is going to be the automatic start. This is going to be the HMI, which we're going to do on the very next video. So this would be the HMI manual start. So we'll have the ability to give the operator the ability to manually start the mixer if they need to. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do a manual stop. And actually let's drag this up a little bit so that you guys can see it a little bit more. And I apologize for that. I keep forgetting about that because I can see it perfectly fine. I want to make sure that you guys can too. Again, we do record in 1080p, but it really revolves around eyesight and stuff like that. I definitely know how that is. Trust me, I've had LASIK surgery myself, so I had PRK surgery a long time ago, about 15 years ago, so I know how it is. But when it comes to it, this is going to be our mixer stop. This is stop request. And unlike the rest of them, we're going to have a stop request for the mixer, and I'll show you why. So we're going to do a one shot for both of these, and this is going to be a one shot. We'll call this mixer motor ons. And let's separate that ons, and we're just going to make a variance of this. So we'll make an array of several instances of this, and we're going to call this one 0, and then we're going to call this one 1. Real easy, real easy. Okay, so now this is our start and stop, but we have to do our actual outputs to our drive, right? So think about this. So we're going to make a tag similar to what we did before. We're going to actually alias our tag. So this is going to be mixer start, let's see, start command. All right, and this is going to be the actual mixer. So this is going to be the Powerflex. So again, we'll do user shortcut. We're going to do an output this time. The output's going to be the start bit. Now you don't have to hold the start bit on. You just have to like one shot it on, and if everything is good, then it will work, right? It depends on how you have your Powerflex actually wired up. In this instance of what we have is we have a generic setup. We don't have to have a 2-wire, 3-wire, whatever the case may be. We're just basically wiring the drive, or we have the drive so that as long as the safety's on, we can one-shot the start bit and it actually will start up, right? So in this instance, I want to make sure you're well aware of that start bit and how it works, because that is basically a good solid understanding of because that's going to be a big question, right? There's often that question. This is going to be the stop command, but there's often that question about drives. Sometimes you have to hold the start bit. It depends on if it's 2-wire or 3-wire or whatever the case may be. In our case, it's not. So we're going to do our stop bit here. This is Powerflex again. We're just going to come in here and alias our stop bit. And again, you can one-shot that. So these are here. This is all good now. Now, in the very next section right here, very next rung, we're going to add slightly different controls. So I want to make sure you're aware of this. So I'm going to do math. We haven't done that much math in here, but we're going to do some math in here to add some cool things as far as understanding. So we're going to make a tag. This is going to be mixer Accel time. And this is going to just be a dent, right? So this is perfectly fine as a dent. This is going to be mixer decel time. Mixer decel, or let's see, decel time. Okay, and then we're going to multiply this by 100. And that's just because we're going to type in whatever small variable in here. And then we're going to call this is going to be mixer Accel value. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to alias this to that actual change we made. So this is going to be the actual output. This is output to a drive, right? So this is going, we're commanding something to the drive, right? So we're telling it this is what we want the speed, or the frequency, not the frequency, but the Accel time to be. So we're going to use Accel time 1, and we're going to change that. So it's already got an Accel time right now of 1500 in there because it's a second and a half, right? So just like you would like a control logics, it's basically a multiple of 1000, just like it would be like, so that's in essence that's 1500 milliseconds. So that would be 1.5 seconds, right? So it's 1.5 seconds to ramp to full actual speed, right? So we're going to do the same thing on decel. So we're going to call this decel value. Okay, so this is going to be decel value. It's going to be an alias again. Again, you'll often see aliases when you're running into programs and stuff like that. So this is why I want to do this. Plus, it's something that I always do anyway. If you've seen any of my programming, you know that. So again, not the Accel rate, because that's a bool. That's choosing if you want Accel 1, Accel 2, right? Again, we're coming back looking at, we want to actually put the time in, right? This is the time limit we're controlling here. Okay, so with that said, this is actually coming in here. So what we're going to do is do this, and so now you see it's actually a decel time of 0. Now to get 1500, we're just going to put 15 in here because we're multiplying it by 100. So now we have our decel and Accel time in here. Now we're going to do another rung where we're going to copy this bit right here, paste it down here. This is, I'm sorry, I actually came in here. We want to copy this bit. Actually, we can just drag it because it's actually finalized up here. It's actually running. It's actually active. We'll finalize that bit. Now, I want to let you know a little tip that a lot of people aren't aware of. Okay. Now, this is going to be where you can utilize your active bit, right? So this is the Powerflex active bit. So we'll say this is going to be Powerflex, or let's just say mixer motor running. And then we're going to alias this to an active bit. Okay, so let me show you this. Powerflex. Okay, so if the active bit, if the drive is active, that means it is sensing a torque. It means it has been told to come on, and it is sensing a torque that it is actually commanded the drive to run, and the drive is actually running. It's actually running a drive. So it's actually, we're going to change this to not on. So then we're going to actually come in here and we're going to put the speed command in here. So what we need to do is we need to do another multiplier, and we're going to do the same exact thing here, except we're going to add some controls to say if it's running, we want to have the multiplier, we want to have the speed at what we want the speed at. If it's not running, we're going to come in here and say what's at 0. Okay, so we're going to throw in a 0 speed if it's not running. And then again, so we don't have to have a multiplier down here because we don't want to multiply by 0. So we want to actually have a move, I think would be a better idea. Let's do that. Okay, so now this multiplier is going to be again by 100. What we're going to do here is we're going to say this is going to be mixer speed ref, and then this is just going to be, you know, it could be whatever you want to. We're going to call this a real. Let's perfectly fine as a dent if you want to have it as a dent. Then we're going to come in and make a tag, and this is going to be the mixer speed command. Mixer speed command. Okay, so the mixer speed command is going to be aliased, and we're going to alias, surprise, surprise. We're going to alias the Powerflex output. Okay, so again, come down here, and this is where you're going to get your output frequency command. Just right here. Okay, so then we're going to move that down here. So now we're going to come up here and say, okay, so if it's running, I want to actually get the drive actually running. So this is a physical drive I have on the bench right next to me. So you will hear this drive start up when I start it up. I'm going to start up off the manual controls, and you'll see. Now the drive is running. Now I can change the speed reference to like 10, and that will actually run 10. Now I can come over here to my actual HMI and see that it is running. So if I come back over here and I press the stop bit, so if I press the stop bit, now we can come back here and you can see that it's going to a 0 speed and it is stopped, right? So now what I want to do is actually come in here. Now that we have everything set, we have all our controls in here for our actual Powerflex 525 drive, and you can hear the drive actually, on right now. What I want to do is actually come back and do some HMI controls and have this where we can actually operate it and you can see it actually working a little bit better. So we can better describe exactly what we did, but just note what I'm doing here is monitoring, because I know this is going to cause some confusion for some people with drives and stuff of that nature. So what I'm doing is I'm actually saying, okay, this is a known factor with Rockwell Automation that with their drives that 90% of the drives work this way. They're standard AC Powerflex drives. If you like tell the drive to run and you're applying power to the motor, and the drive will actually sense the torque or the actual amperage coming back, and when it does, it's going to activate a bit that's going to be an active bit, drive active. A lot of people misconstrue or confuse the fact of the ready bit with the active bit. Okay, the active bit is an active, that means the drive is actually running. Okay, so that means the motor is actually running, the drive is actually running, everything is working okay, it's working like it should. So I want to make sure that's 100% clear, so that we make sure we're clear with that. Now when we come back on the very next video, we're going to be doing some HMI controls and adding some buttons to actually work with this so that we have everything working. But right now, as you can see, everything is working as it should. So on the very next video, we'll go ahead and continue to the HMI. So we'll see you guys there.